Hey everyone, this is Rachel and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. If you hang out until after the video is through, there are always detailed shots of my current layout. Let's get going! Hey everyone, so today I am making a layout using Shimelle's Box of Crayons and two 4x6 vertical photos of Ms. Xanthe. Sorry, you might hear a little bit of barking in the background. I'm still at my stepfather's house. I am scrapbooking from away, and he has three dogs, and they are very interested, and apparently something is going on outside. I do not know what, so we're getting a little woofling going. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead, get you put on fast forward, get started with this layout, and let's see where it goes. Let's get going. I'm not at home, and I'm dealing with where I am. There are can lights in the ceiling. I know that the photos do end up with some glare on them, especially in this particular one. So I can't do anything about it. I can't go back and fix it. It is what it is. So I knew right off I wanted to use this yellow paper with the kitty faces because it's a superior looking kitty, and Xanthe thinks she's very superior here on this one because she is sitting where she's not supposed to be sitting. So I go to use this and I go to cut the branding strip off, and that's when I realize that this paper's B-side, and it is called Cat's Meow. This paper's B-side is this multicolor heart, and I am very sad. I am so sad at the idea of doing this that I decide I am going to gut the paper, and by gutting it, I'm actually going to uh, trim off two ends and use it that way. In reality, I could have just cut out that center portion and been fine with it. That probably would have been the smarter and easier thing to do, but instead I just whacked off like around 3 inches on one side and an inch and a half on the other. Basically, two rows of cat heads on one side and one row of cat heads on the other. Well, one and a half, but the half is going to be cut off. Now, when I do this, I make the assumption that right now my trimmer is standing vertically. When I turn it horizontally, I'm going to use that section as a 12-inch marker. That, however, is just slightly over 12 inches, about a quarter of an inch. So what I'm going to do instead, so what I do is when I got home, I used my actual trimmer to trim it down to a true 12 by 12 because it was like 12 by 12 and a quarter. No big deal. Just the way it is. So here it is. And this takes an inordinate amount of time. And I will tell you, I will be absolutely truthful with you. The idea of what I just said, gutting the paper, where I didn't just hack off two ends, but where I, went in an inch on each side to do it, did not occur to me until watching this video back. Sometimes, you're in the zone and one thing occurs to you and that's the thing you're going to do. So this is going to take me quite a while. What I was looking for was to have two complete rows of cats on one side and one complete row of, well, row, and one row of row of cats. It's still cats, even though it's one row, there's multiple cats. Wow, sometimes grammar does not work for me. So anyways, so what I'm trying to do is get two over on the left-hand side and one row over on the right-hand side. And I just trying to get it even and trying to get it lined up. Now I'm just like smacking myself in the head going, oh, dummy, why did you do this? Because, and because I desperately needed to have that heart paper. I'm like, oh my goodness, sometimes I have to roll my eyes at myself because I'm just such a goofy git. Okay, I'm actually completing where I actually get this and I'm happy. I do not realize it's a quarter of an inch. It's okay. There's nothing over on those ends, so I was able to trim it off no problem whatsoever. So I did, once I got home, also reinforce it with some washi tape on the back end because I was not sure it was going to stay. So I've got these three branding strips, and these are just from various papers in this line, and I am layering them on top of each other. And you're going to see my stepfather's dogs kind of on the edges because every time I would get up to scrapbook, where I am is in between the dining room and the kitchen, so they assume I'm preparing food, and they're waiting for me to drop something. So it's actually quite funny. So I'm going to go ahead and I cut fishtail banners in three of those, in the three of those branding strips. And Then I realized that top one is not centered, so I'm going to rip it back off carefully, and I mainly get it okay. It's working, so I'm just going to lay that down where it needs to be laid down, and then I'm going to put that multicolor rainbow polka dot on top. And I'm happy with the way that looks, and I decide since I painstakingly chopped out this piece, I might as well use a big chunk of it behind my photos. And that way it brings another multicolored element along with that branding strip to my layout. I always like to have, unless I'm like specifically going for a monochromatic look, I do like to almost always have a multicolored element in my layout. In this case, it is the heart paper and the branding strip. So I'm just going to tuck those branding strips up under my photos, and now I have the basic structure of my layout. So I have known since I got this line that I was going to use this title for these photos. It wasn't like I bought this line for this layout. I just, once I had these photos, and once I saw the word on my, oh, I went and made coffee. That I'm like, where was I? I'm thinking in my head while I'm going on this. I'm like, where on earth did I go? I went to make coffee. So the word is nope. So the second I saw the word nope on these stickers from Shimelle, I knew I was making this layout for with these photos. So the particularities of this story is that we have a couch, we have a love seat, we have a chair, we have we have 6 dining room chairs, we have 2 occasional chairs in the dining room, we have a carpeted area, we have 2 pet beds down here, plus, obviously there are 4 beds in our house, and multiple other surfaces to lay upon. Beyond the counters, the only other thing we do not like for Xanthe to lay on is the back of the recliner. Guess where these photos are taken? Yeah, and look who looks not even the slightest bit ashamed. So that is why the word nope was just absolutely perfect for this layout. All right, now let's actually talk about the layout. I've got that upper left-hand side going on, and I don't like the way it's going, and I'm going to end up changing it. I also have the upper right-hand side with the thicker hearts. That's going to change a little as well. And what I'm going to do down at the bottom, I'm going to go for a slight sticker sneeze. I'm going to go for a kind of rainbow O stickers. So I've got the camera, then I've got the other style of camera, then I've got another cat head, and then I've got a heart, and then over on the right-hand side, I have that butterfly patch. Now, if you have those patches from this line, and you have not used them yet, be aware of this. Once you place it down, that is where it is. Don't try to move it. You will destroy it and everything under it. So here's where I realize I do not actually care for what's going on in the upper left-hand side of my layout, and I'm going to move things around. The hearts on the hearts just were not showing up at all, even in real life. I pull one of the navy thickers over to that side, I add a butterfly, I add another heart, and here's where I decide that this floral piece, border sticker, I'm going to trim off a bit of that and just tuck it underneath the top of the photo. And for some reason that made me happy. So now I'm just going to write my journaling. I'm just writing about how, she's an obnoxious cat. I mean, she's a sweet cat. Don't get me wrong. She's not one of those evil cats that attack and stuff like that. But she does stuff like this where she lays exactly where, like the one by 3.5 feet square of soft sitting area we do not like her to sit. That's where she chooses to sit. All right, I have finished my journaling, and now I'm going to end this layout. I think I'm going to end this layout with some Heidi Swap Color Shine in Navy, and then I believe I'm also going to go for some Jenny B Blue. You know what? Before I add the Jenny B Blue, I'm going to go back and remember, oh, hello, you need to add some puffy stickers because you need a little bit more dimension there. So I'm going to add a puffy sticker in the upper left hand, and then I think, is that it? That is it. All right, I am going to decide right now to add some Jenny B Blue to finish off this layout, but before I say goodbye, I want to say, hey, if you could subscribe to my channel, that would be super awesome. Also, flick me a thumbs up if you can. Bye, everyone.